Join us, friends.
Great Scott, Spy Guy. Do they know what we have in store for them?
They will if they tighten up.
And don't double dribble. To the Grey Ghost, Spy Guy?
Exactly, old chum. No time to waste. To the Grey Ghost. We have not a minute to spare. It's showtime, friends.
All right. It is the Spy Guy, and it is
Globetrotting with Trey.
And we are not wishing cotton was a monkey, but we know that there are a lot of people that are. Today, we have a special guest. Trey, who is our special guest today?
All right, Spy Guys. So a lot of the viewers may have seen my video a few weeks ago at the Nashville Comic Con meeting one of my heroes, Chuck Norris. And if you've watched that video at the very beginning, I have two fellas singing the theme song to Walker, Texas Ranger to Chuck in my film. So today's special guest is one of the guys that sang to Chuck Norris, the Nashville Comic Con, who hosts a really cool Walker, Texas Ranger podcast called Roundhouse Roulette. His name is Adam Dalton. What's going on, Adam?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks.
Hey, Adam, great to see you, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, Adam. So we met you at the Nashville Comic Con. I believe you and your brother, right?
Well, not my brother, but my band brother,
Brother.
John Beck. Yeah, because I play in a bluegrass band, the Tennessee Warblers, here in Nashville. And my podcast partners are my brother and a good friend, Bob, who are both in Massachusetts. So I had to enlist one of my bandmates to go undercover to stalk Chuck Norris.
You guys sounded great. You sure did. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, so I think y'all were right in front of us in line, right?
Yeah, totally.
We got to talking because you started singing there. We were probably like, what, 100 people in front of us at this point. So, we were in the very back of the line, and y'all just started singing away every few feet that we would move, I guess, in that line. But you actually did. So I'm going to ask you, let's take you back to that moment, man. You got to accomplish something you probably have always dreamed of. You sang to Chuck Norris himself the theme of Walker, Texas Ranger. What was that like, Adam?
Ridiculous, man. It was, I didn't even dream that would happen, but I literally looked into Chuck Norris's eyes and sang the Eyes of the Ranger to him. And
that's pretty wild.
As you may or may not know, he sings his own theme song, in the show. So it's like, dude, Chuck Norris is kind of one of my favorite musicians of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm singing his song to him. What?
Yeah. In the Eyes of a Ranger.
Unbelievable. It was just ridiculous.
And I think I was able to capture that moment for you.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Thank you so much for
doing that. I've got some good footage of that too. Yeah.
And Spy Guy has some good footage, man. It was just so cool because Chuck started dancing. Like Chuck Norris was dancing to Adam singing Walker.
I got to play. I played guitar, and my buddy John did the harmony singing and played mandolin, and just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think he gave you a big hug at the end.
Yeah, he did. He hugged my guitar. So dude, I'm not going to watch that.
They really accommodated you on that thing. They made sure when you got up there, they kind of set it up. So that was very nice of them.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And the whole family was super nice, and just as you say in your video, they just exude such a great positive vibe, and we had a blast.
Yeah, I've been around Mr. Norris and Miss Norris 5 or 6 times now, and I'm telling you, Adam, like I was like you guys. I just saw him on Walker and all the movies at one point. But then when I was able to start to being around them and actually got to spend a few hours with them every time that I see them, man, like Chuck Norris just becomes even larger than life to me. But he becomes a real man, and he's just so nice. He's just so friendly, so friendly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, we, on our podcast, Roundhouse Roulette, we do poke some fun at the show because the show is outlandishly awesome.
Yeah.
And, occasionally we'll poke fun at the latest Chuck Norris news and stuff too. So, I was a little worried that he might take me out if I ever meet him in person, but he was super cool. And as far as I know, he might be sending his minions out to take us out here too. But I'm totally cool with it. I'm totally cool with it.
I'm sure Chuck can take care of himself. But, but I saw you. I think y'all gave them like some T-shirts or some sweatshirts.
Gave
them a stack of stuff.
Yeah, we had so the first 50 episodes of our podcast, which we started during the pandemic, so that we could hang out once a week talking about Walker, and we were busting them out once a week, which we just now we're kind of back to normal. We can't bust out an edited podcast once a week. That's crazy, man. But we were doing that.
A lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about you guys, but for every, from what I've talked to with people, for like every 10 minutes of edited audio is like an hour. That's kind of crazy. And all the professional podcasts you hear, that's what they're doing. Someone's in their basement doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this is actually for us. The podcasts are easier to do than our regular YouTube videos as far as time goes, because we generally just hit the button and go. So these are actually the easier part for us. But now we're not fancy either.
Oh no, this is perfect, and that's a great thing about like the YouTube podcasting, because you get to see people talk in real time, and you don't have to spend a whole day editing a 60-minute podcast.
Yeah.
But that's what we signed up for. We can't go back.
Yep.
But all that to say, for the first 50 episodes, we had an illustrator doing a comic book illustration for each episode.
Wow.
Put that up on Instagram and stuff. We even did a few movies, and he did a pretty cool one for Lone Wolf McQuaid. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get that framed, and we're going to give, a framed version of Adam Lauritsen is his name. Great illustrator. He's on Instagram at Imagination Run Amok is his handle if you want to check out his stuff. But we gave a framed copy of his original art for Lone Wolf McQuaid with Chuck looking badass, and pass that off to him. And we got to talk to his son Dakota was there, who I'm sure you guys were talking with too, right? But he's like, oh yeah, we'll put this in Chuck's trophy room. And I'm like, dude, what? Guy's art is going to be in Chuck Norris's trophy room? What?
Yeah. I bet that blew him away when you told him.
Oh yeah. I emailed him and he was like, I did not have that on my bingo card for this year. That's what he said. So he was super psyched.
And I think I told you, Dakota has a YouTube channel. Did you go and check it out?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I think he's on Instagram too. I followed him there too. Yeah, totally. Everyone's super cool.
It's so cool because he'll post videos, Billy, of he and his dad working out in Hawaii. They have a place in Hawaii, and like Chuck's still the man. Chuck's still working out. While Chuck is 80 now, Chuck is what, 80?
82, 83. I should know this.
I think he's 80.
1940. He's 83. March
83.
1940.
Okay.
Yeah. But so man, okay. So I want to ask you this. So y'all started during COVID, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right. So take us back? How did it all start for the Roundhouse? And also, guys, you need to go to their website because you were talking about the artwork. Who did that artwork where Chuck is kicking the dude up in the
air? Yeah. My wife, Sarah Dalton, at the time did it. She's an awesome illustrator. And now my ex-wife, but super cool. She's
Sarah.
Awesome.
Sarah, that's awesome. That was awesome artwork that you did.
She helped us do all the website. Super graphic designer. She got our logo together. All this stuff. We are indebted to her for that. And I mean, the fact that we got to pass off her logo T-shirt to Chuck Norris. I mean, it's ridiculous. What?
Yeah, that's cool.
I just hope maybe you'll capture him wearing it somehow.
Yeah,
there'll be somewhere he's wearing that. All right, so COVID happens. Y'all start this Walker. So how did Walker? What was it about Walker, Texas Ranger?
All right. Well, so my brother Evan and I, who we host the podcast together with our buddy Bob. But we grew up watching Walker on TV, and we didn't have cable, and that was like some of the only guy TV on there. For two nerds, we needed that testosterone in our life. You know what I mean? And we would watch it, and it was just like, oh, can you believe they just did that? Can you believe they just had a fight in the library? Can you believe a statue of a white buffalo just had a digital tear come down its face?
Yeah, that's right.
What? This show is ridiculous. So when it finally came out on DVD, we were buying them up, and I think they released the last season first for whatever reason. And I took that to college and ended up watching them after our gigs at UMass. And my buddy Bob, we'd go back to his dorm and just crush Walker and PBR, and that's how he got into it. And around that same time too, we were playing like a weekly bar gig, and we closed every one of our sets with the Walker Texas Ranger theme song, which we gotta say here, "Eyes of the Ranger" by Turk Wilder is a songwriter. He was a Nashville songwriter, and I don't know. We got to talk to him sometime. We got to track him down. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, it'd be easy to find.
Yeah. But
Chuck sang that though. That's the coolest part about this is how many of the stars of a show ever sings their theme song.
Oh yeah, and we were in line, and we had been playing the song every time we got a row closer to Chuck. Which for you guys were right behind us, so you saw us do it every time. Which I'm sure you guys were like, oh man, these guys gotta get out of here, right?
No, not at all. We were just hoping they were going to give you your shot when you got up there.
Yeah.
They cut us off. They went to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was worried about that, that they would go take a break or something. But yeah, so
what is your format, Adam? Do y'all watch a show and then do a show about that show? Each one of you rewatch it?
Exactly. So the three of us rewatch an episode on our own, and then we come together to do the podcast. And so the format is we meet up at the virtual CD's Bar and Grill to dish latest Chuck Norris news, Walker news, anything that's going on. Read fan emails or whatever, people who troll us, which we want trolls. We want to hear the complaints. We want everything. So we go through all that, and then the next segment is we recap the whole episode, which at the time you couldn't watch Walker. You could only catch it on TV. It wasn't streaming anywhere. So we thought, we kind of have to talk it through plot point by plot point so people know what is actually happening. So my brother actually logs down every scene, and we talk through it, which a lot of times the minutia of the scene is funnier than some of the stuff that happens, because you're just like, why did they do that, man? I don't know. But so we do that, and then the next segment is we rate the episode on a scale of 0 to 10 boots to the face. Okay. And then we average the 3 scores, and that becomes our roundhouse rating for the episode, which is all on our website.
I was going to say, I saw a chart on there.
Yeah. So
you actually chart each piece of it.
Oh yeah. So the rating per guy, from if you're say, oh, I agree with Adam, which you should, on how you rate an episode, you can go by that, or if you go by the average, or my brother also catalogs every car chase, which there are many, every explosion, fight, and roundhouse kick. So say you're into explosions, the episode Blown Apart has 11 explosions. They blow up a whole neighborhood.
Yes, they did really. And it was real, Billy. They blew this whole neighborhood up in real time.
Wow.
For the show. But also this neighborhood was going to be demolished.
Or something, yeah.
Texas Rangers decided, hey, this will be cool. Let's blow this whole neighborhood up for the storyline.
That is great.
There's actually, I don't know, Adam, have you seen it? But there's some cool footage of Chuck that I recently saw on YouTube of being interviewed during that time when they were filming this episode. And they were in that neighborhood, and like it was burning in the background, and Chuck is being interviewed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Total. There's I think I didn't see it on YouTube, but there was like the Texas Film Authority or something like that had a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, right? And they had his stunt double, Kenny Gibson and Chuck just dressed identical, all denim, obviously, right? And he had them both run in opposite directions because they could only blow the thing up once, and they wanted to get the shot, which was kind of interesting. And it was like Chuck Norris was still pretty close to all that stuff.
And Billy, on that episode, for real, like they have like these wide shots and close-up shots of the homes. I believe it was like 10 or 11 homes that were blown up in this shot.
It's epic.
And I believe that Alex was held hostage. Alex was Walker's girl on the show, and she's in one of the homes. So of course, Walker's got to find which house it is. I believe that's the story.
Well, you're kind of mixing it up. Let me correct you here, okay? No, she was kidnapped, and she did have a bomb around her, and he did rescue her earlier in the episode. Okay, but later, I think there was a little girl involved. It was his daughter. It was the bad guy's daughter.
Bad guy's that little girl. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Yeah, but sorry to correct you there, but we just want to make sure the record's correct here.
That's right. You can't be throwing around.
I've seen Walker probably a million times, probably every episode.
You've probably seen him more than me, honestly.
I can tell you how big a fan I am, man. I can tell you the license plate on the truck.
Oh, I don't even know that.
AU9075.
There it is.
Is that it? Am I right?
Oh, they didn't have it on the toy truck, dude. Mattel or whatever, man. You got to get your Hot Wheels trucks, man.
I don't have the truck.
Correct? Come on.
I don't have the truck, but that is Walker's truck.
Yeah.
And he had that badass truck always, all the way to the end. When they reboot it, they changed the truck up a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. The
movie, the Trial by Fire, where CBS does one movie and they leave us in a cliffhanger that's never settled. Exactly. Makes me so mad. I'm glad now that Chuck just probably got $30 million from residuals.
Oh, for the reboot, maybe, or maybe who knows what it was for. But you know
right.
what? I'm not gonna say. I mean, I'm sure the lawyers are like, dude, Chuck Norris is asking for money. Just give it to him.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You don't want him coming down here.
And as it should be. But yeah, so we do that. We give our review and savor the moments there, and then at the end of the episode, we spin a roulette wheel that has all the other episodes, and we select the next week's episode because none of the stories really connect. There are a few, and if you hit them, we just do that whole series together. But this way, we're jumping to the late period Walker when it was off the hook, just insane fighting, like every commercial break, and then the more chill earlier stuff that's a little more grounded. Yeah, a little more.
Well, the thing about the series is pretty much when you look at it, what they did was they made an hour movie every week for us.
Yeah.
It was an hour Chuck Norris movie.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Because all the explosions that we talked about, all the fighting scenes. You put Chuck in all these situations as the series, goes on. Chuck is in he's undercover. I like the undercover episodes.
Right. He's working an oil rig.
Oh yes.
He delivers a baby.
The one in Mexico, where he goes
on the border.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He does. Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, he does it all. He goes undercover as a teacher in school.
He catches the kid Billy. So Chuck's a substitute teacher in this school, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a bad school. Kids are acting up left and right, just doing whatever they want to do. So Chuck's the teacher, and one kid decides, Chuck's up at the chalkboard. One kid decides he's going to pull up a piece of paper and hit Chuck in the back of the head. Well, Chuck catches the paper, never sees it. He catches the paper, throws it back, and knocks the kid in the head. It's all in one shot, right? Am I right on that one, Adam?
Oh yeah, and it's if you search in your phone for Walker gifts, that's one of the great ones that comes up. Still, it's pretty tastefully done.
Now, am I mistaken here, Adam? But is Danny Trejo in that episode?
I don't know if he's in that one, but it might have been the guy who was Flash Gordon. I think was in that one.
Flash Gordon. Okay.
I should know the actor's name for that. Sam. It'll come to me. But yeah, he was dealing drugs to some of the kids, in high school, and that's when you send Chuck Norris in to really.
Chuck Norris takes over the school, Billy.
Yeah, he'll root it out.
By the end of this episode, this school was a good school.
Exactly. We have this whole thing where Walker, he kind of does your job better than you, and that's kind of what we've discovered, that whenever you need the job done, you just send Walker in. He'll do it better. He'll do it
better. And no matter what situation Walker is in, somehow he figures out a way to save the day, right?
Oh, no doubt. That last 8 minutes is what you wait for when he's just wrecking house.
Yeah. Okay. So I noticed on the stats there of the graphs that y'all have on the shows is you have a category about roundhouse kicks, or how many times in the episode that Chuck does the roundhouse.
Oh yeah.
I believe y'all have counted the top episode has 11 of them.
That sounds about right. Yeah. And I think that one, is one where Alex is kidnapped by a cult leader, and Trevette and Walker need to break into the compound and save her. And Alex dreams that this happens, because I dream that Chuck saves me. So I can imagine if I was actually captured that I'd probably dream about that more. But, so they break in and they do these crazy fight scenes.
What is your favorite episode, Adam?
It's got to be the one where they blow up the neighborhood, blown apart. That's our highest rated one so far that we've seen. And the reason is the bad guy is so over the top, and it's unbelievable. The bad guy is just too good. So I'd recommend that one highly.
So in this in these series, is you kind of are alluding to, I think the word, the what they call it is a suspension of belief. So there's a suspension of belief situation in every episode, or occasionally. What is your take on that?
Sometimes, because it gets more like that near the end, but it was more procedural Western earlier on, but then you get more of sometimes you'll get Native American spiritualism in it, and then it kind of moves over to more Christianity. And so sometimes both of those kind of go together, and you're like, man, I think he just willed that to happen. I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad it did, and it's just amazing. So,
how many seasons?
Oh man, I think depending on how you look at it, it's around 9.
Yeah. Okay. How many episodes per season? Back then it was like 20, 26, because they could do half the year and then rerun the rest of the year, or 24. It may have been 24, take 2 weeks off.
Some of them were that, but there's like 200 episodes of it now.
Okay.
So, in this, the amount varied per season, but
okay, because they had kind of a formula thing back in the day, and of course I don't think you're quite as old as I am, but back in the day, Trey's internet's gone down, so he'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
But back in the day, and I would give you an example, it would be Laverne and Shirley or Happy Days. Mm-hmm. They would have like 24 episodes. Then there would be 2 weeks that nothing happened, and then it would start back at episode 1 and play through the end of the year. Then there'd be 2 weeks at the end for Christmas.
Okay.
So they could play. So if you missed an episode, for instance, you knew that in exactly 6 months you were going to get to see that episode again. You just had to make sure you saw it. You were prepared to see it.
That's how you catch it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it was very organized and straightforward. Today, I find that trying to watch a show is very hard to do, because it varies in the amount of episodes that they have. It varies when they play. It's all these different factors. And of course you can record things, but then you forget about it.
Right.
Back in the day, we would watch Laverne and Shirley on Thursday nights. It would be Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days. Friday night would be Love Boat and Fantasy Island, and it would be just that same thing. And I'm not as big a fan. I'm a fan of Chuck Norris, but I don't know that I've ever watched more than a couple of episodes of Walker. But I know Trey has watched a ton of them.
Oh yeah,
He's
well, I mean,
about a lot of them.
Well, if you're looking to find the best one, just go to our website and rank it by the best rated episode, man, and then you can start your Walker feast.
and kind of fall into it. And I was fortunate enough to film Chuck at Glenn Beck's
rally in Birmingham.
Yeah, the rally was called
United.
No, it was something. Start again, never before again, never again, something like that. And it was in Birmingham, and they basically walked. They walked the trail that Martin Luther King walked during some of the things, and so I walked backwards in front of them the whole thing filming. Well, I didn't know that Trey was there. I didn't know Trey. Yeah. So they're coming up to was it the BJCC, Trey?
Yeah, at the BJCC.
Okay, so they were coming up the steps at the BJCC. So I took that moment to kind of step forward and try to talk to Chuck and get an interview with him. And you can see Trey in the background in that.
Oh, that's cool.
That's before I ever knew Trey.
That was probably a year before I met Spa Guy, knew Spa Guy. But the cool thing about that, Adam, is, and Billy didn't realize, but I was hanging out with Chuck and Marshall Teague.
Oh, damn. All right. Yeah.
Marshall Teague was in the first episode of Walker. And he's also in that episode, the 4th of July episode.
I haven't
he's
seen
also
that
in the very end, the last episode of Walker.
The only one we did the pilot episode, which when I spun that, I had been waiting a year to surprise the guys that I got like the original script from a stunt guy off eBay for like $50, and I've been holding on to it. I spent like an hour scanning this thing in there just so I could be like, guys, look what I got. Oh, let's do this pilot. Next podcast.
That's cool.
But,
that's very cool.
But he's in that. Marshall Teague's in the pilot episode. So that was our first dealing with him and Walker. And then he was also in a 2-part Hayes Cooper flashback Western episode that we've done. And I think he's in a bunch more. So we're looking forward to.
Yeah, Chuck and Marshall are really close friends. And I'm friends with Marshall on Facebook. I'll chat with him every now and then. But back to that script. Did they follow the script?
Yeah, for the most part. And I really was, my biggest thing was, I wanted to see was Trevette's Speedo in the original script, because they give a really unfortunate intro. Well, I mean, it was a good intro. It was a good intro, but he's coming out of the pool, and the script says he's coming out of the pool like Poseidon, in his Speedo. And let's just say the editors left nothing to the imagination there for us in that pilot episode, which was probably why a lot more people tuned in.
Yeah, and Clarence Gilliard, who just died, unfortunately, a few months ago now, 5-6 months ago.
Yeah.
Man, he and Chuck were perfect partners together, weren't they? Like they had a great chemistry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he lightened, definitely lightened the mood for the whole series. And without, Chuck's awesome and he's rough, he's tough. That's why we tune in.
Yeah.
But somebody needs to lighten it up a little bit, and that's what he and Cherie J. Wilson did as well. So
Noble Willingham CD, who we loved.
Exactly. Which that actually is one revelation in the original script. They have his full name. What is it? Chester David.
Really?
Is in the script.
A CD, Chester David.
But I've never heard that in the show ever. Yeah. So, but that's in the script. And
they had another actor play CD, right? In that first episode.
Gaylord Santane or something like that. He was he was in a bunch of different movies, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing about with Clarence Gilliard is I knew him from Matlock with Andy Griffith. So here is Clarence Gilliard. He just worked with Andy Griffith, and now he's working with Chuck Norris. I mean, he must have been.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So you guys, the intro you have is like very Adam West Batman kind of thing going on, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
I'm a big old Batman, Adam West, Burt Ward.
All right, so that's my second favorite show. Okay, so and the parallels to Walker are the same. You put both those double Batman episodes together, and you've got a Walker Texas Ranger episode.
I've never thought about that.
Am I right, Trey?
You know, you're right about it, because like you're looking like, because what Batman and, you know, me and Burt Ward, we talked about that. You know, they had enough for the adults, enough for the kid, and then the kids didn't understand all the adult stuff that was in the show. Right. And like now we watch Batman now and we're like, whoa, wow, did Adam West really say that? Did he really do that?
Yeah.
And I felt a word about that, man. And the cool thing about it is, you know, Burt Ward did a biography?
Oh no, I haven't read that. I have read Adam West's one though.
Okay, you've got to do Burt Ward's, because it's called My Life in Tights.
Oh man, all right.
And the picture of the book is a shot of his down low, those green trunks.
Oh yeah, man.
He has his hands on his hips like Robin, you know. That's the picture of the thing. So my mom bought me that book when I was like 10 years old, because I was a big fan of the show. Yeah. And I had read the Return Back to the Batcave with Adam West. And so I wanted to read Burt Ward's autobiography. And Adam, man, that first chapter, boy, it started something like this. Like, I wore that costume for 126 episodes of Batman on ABC. But I never looked as good as that girl did in it. That's how the first.
Wow! Starts. All right.
Okay, so I said that to get to this. So when I met Burt Ward for the first time, I took that book up to him, and I told him that I read this book when I was 10 years old. His face got red.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, man." And I said, "Oh, it was cool, except, you know, the time that my mom was buying it from Books A Million, and it opened on a chapter that said, was Batman and Robin gay?" and the girl that was selling it to my mom, like, looked at my mom, and my mom was like, "This is for my 10-year-old son," you know, you know. Right. Yeah. But like you were saying, is you're correlating. I can see it now, because they give you adult situations, but they also made it good for kids to be able to enjoy. Because Walker is a really clean show. It's family friendly, clean, but it had that action pack Chuck Norris movie every week.
Yeah, there's probably more sexuality in you know, Julie Newmar and just talking to Adam West than all of Walker Texas Ranger. So, which, you know, there's probably no more anywhere else. Let's be honest, but you know. Yeah, there's really, sex doesn't exist. You know, there are no gay people in Walker, also that kind of thing. But it's this alternate reality, you know.
Well, the thing is, and it just shows how Chuck changed. Like the last probably 2 years of Walker, it became more of a Christian based show, because that's what Chuck did in real life. He gave his life back to Christ, and I think when Gina came into his life, it really changed Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the script, and you can see that in the show, the complete presentation of his show. Right. Because I believe, if you know, and Chuck, I think, is really proud of it, but I believe the highest rated episode of Walker that won, I think, an Emmy or something, was a Christian based show. Do you know that, Adam? What it was like?
I think what I've heard about
Warwick. What's the singer, Billy?
Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick was in the show, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the episode.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Dionne Warwick and it's a little daughter, or little granddaughter, and something happens to the little granddaughter.
Wait. Is this the one where she gets shot in the drive-by shooting?
That's it.
And this is early in the show, actually, and yeah, that was a pretty serious topic for sure. You know,
that was one that I think Walker won. They won an Emmy for that one, and I believe it was, you know, one of the proudest things of Chuck. He talks about it, I believe, in his autobiography of that, how proud he is of that one episode.
Yeah.
Walker. And because it has like a big meaning, you know, it's like there's a lot of Christian themes in that episode, Billy.
There are. She comes back to life with divine intervention in the hospital room.
Right.
And then, you know, they show the blinding light, and then they pan up to Chuck Norris as if he's God kind of situation, and then she comes back to life. That's how I interpreted it.
But Chuck, I guess if you look at it, Chuck was the man of Walker. It's called Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh yeah, no, and that was when that poor girl got shot, and we were just like, oh no, we have to talk about this, you know. Right. But that's good. They dealt with some really serious stuff that, you know, a lot of people watching Walker, Texas Ranger probably wouldn't have found out anywhere else, you know. So that's another weird part of the show, is it's this escapist action show, but then a lot of times they'll dig into some real positive whatever, the real serious issues.
Yeah. What I've always wanted, I need to ask Chuck one day. I need to say, man, how in the world did Walker walk over those fire pits? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Because Billy, there was a lot of Indian. Walker was, I guess, a Cherokee,
right?
Cherokee blood, so there was a lot of Indian scenarios in some of the shows. So he would go out and I guess reflect or something in episodes out in the woods or whatever. And there's one episode he walks over the coal, and you know, they show how hot it is with the I wonder how Walker did that one. That's my one question, is how
TV magic.
It could very well be. But yeah, I mean,
where were these things filmed at, guys? Were they all filmed in Texas?
Yes.
Mostly, around the Dallas Fort Worth area.
CD's Bar and Grill, and I have filmed it. I haven't put it out there, but when I was in Fort Worth, I found where CD's Bar and Grill is. So I go in there and I sat at the bar, man. I sat there for about 2 hours. I'm like, man, so I a lot of episodes. Now, later on, they moved it, but the early episodes of Walker were filmed inside the one in Fort Worth.
And I think they built a sound stage of it. I don't know when they did, but the establishing shot remained. What is it called? The White Elephant is the name of the bar.
White Elephant. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, in Dallas, it's still there. My dream, my dream was to sing to Chuck Norris, the theme song, but now my secondary dream is to perform at CD's Bar and Grill in Texas. So,
oh man, you got to make that happen, man. I'm sure that's easy to make happen.
Yeah, you can make that happen easy.
Video now, you got the video now. Just send that video to them and say, "Look, I want to play here."
Dude, here's the press kit from Trey. He's got it all together here. I'm just going to send it over right now.
You invite me and Spa Guy to film it, right, Billy?
Yeah,
absolutely.
We need to make a trip down to Fort Worth.
We'll be doing it. Yeah, we'll be doing a live podcast at CD's Bar and Grill. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get Chuck there.
Why not? We'll do it for charity. Chuck for charity. I don't know what we're doing, but
it's cool. They have a lot of cool photos of Walker, Texas Ranger inside the bar. Chuck on the set.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
set takes and stuff. With people. So. And it looks the same in there, man. Like the bar is the same. It's the same. The CD was behind.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be a blast to do it. I think that episode that you're talking about was actually the 100th episode, because there's some bonus footage, I think, on that Texas website, Texas film website, that shows behind the scenes of filming that episode. And then and all the casts have 100 episode jackets on and stuff. And his son, Eric Norris, I believe, directed that episode. So, and he was talking about, he's like, yeah, I wanted Dad to do a little more action, but he was taking this one really seriously. And, it's a serious topic. So he kind of wanted to, be a little less fighting when you're, trying to get right with God,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. And like I said, it was just a reflection of Chuck's personal life. I'm not sure when that was filmed, but it seems like he went through a bad breakup, if I remember correctly, with a really younger woman.
Yeah, it's we kind of stumbled upon that on the podcast. We decided we were doing all these mini-sodes because we had all the extra time during the pandemic and stuff, and we're like, oh, let's watch his interview on Howard Stern, which I think he proposes on Howard Stern to this girl. We were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then it seems like it was quickly annulled, but
Well,
we all got to live. We all got to live. I'm not perfect. I'm going to say it here, here, guys.
What I read, I believe in his book or somewhere, is that she kind of gave him the ultimatum of like quitting Walker.
Oh, well then, yeah, you got to show her the door fast.
So let's. Then I think Chuck met Gina on set. I believe Miss Norris. I'm not sure if she was in an episode. I'm not really sure about that, but I believe they met on set. And you might not know this, Billy, and I think I mentioned, but Miss Norris was actually a real life police officer.
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Oh,
she's really nice.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yes, she actually was real life police, so she's really the police, not Chuck.
Wow, that's crazy. She when we were working our way up to sing for Chuck, she's like, "Oh, you know the story behind the song, right?" And I'm like, "Well, not really, And she goes, "Well, I think Chuck wanted, one of the country singers who was on Walker. Maybe I don't know if Tracy Lawrence was on Walker. I think he might have been, but there were a bunch of like 90s country artists who were guests on Walker, and she wanted one of them, or he wanted one of them to sing the theme song, And I don't know if either like the producers were like, "Yeah, we can't afford that," or whatever, but they're like, "Chuck, you just do it, man." And so, I'm assuming I've never seen Chuck sing anywhere else. I'm assuming he's not a singer. So they sent him to some recording studio, and it's kind of a disaster. And they're like, "Well, why don't you just rap it?" And that's what happened. So, and that's how she described him rapping the song. So
interesting.
He kind of monotone sings it.
Yeah.
And again, it's a big influence on me. So I've gone over it many a time. I know it.
And man, the perfect part is when they have him standing there with the sky.
Oh my gosh!
Norris,
don't this guy. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we have 3 minutes left.
Okay.
So is there any what's your favorite Chuck Norris movie?
I am, funnily enough, I am a Walker Texas Ranger fan.
Okay.
I've seen a bunch of Chuck Norris movies through this, but probably Silent Rage was really fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
So Silent Rage is pretty much Chuck Norris versus Michael Myers. It's kind of like Halloween. It's like a Chuck Norris Halloween movie. Would you say that, Adam?
Oh yeah, he fights like Frankenstein in a small town, and he's a sheriff. I just want to give a shout out real quick to our podcasting brother Bob Leahy. He's the third guy on a podcast with us. He actually just had a serious kind of health issue, and so we just want to send out our thoughts and prayers to him, because he is the man, and he's going to power through this. He's awesome. And I appreciate you guys just talking with us and about all this stuff here.
So we still got a little bit of time. You mentioned a soundstage earlier. Where was that, in Texas? Where? Or was that in LA?
It was in Texas. Yeah. All the stuff was filmed there. Yeah, for sure. And we did an interview with the script supervisor, Mignon Monroe, and she's awesome. She has a great Instagram account, Walker Texas Ranger Pics on Instagram. That's all behind the scenes pictures of set life there. And she was literally behind almost the camera on every show. So we got to ask her about all that stuff. If you ever want to listen to that, that's in our thing there.
And how did they find you?
Huh?
How did they find you?
I think we all connected on Instagram. She's on there.
No, I'm saying, how did the fans find you if they want to listen to your podcast?
Oh yeah. So we are wherever you listen to podcasts. We're not on YouTube though. We got to figure that out. But pretty much any podcasting app, Spotify, Apple, wherever, Roundhouse Roulette. And our band that does the Walker Texas Ranger theme song that we sang to Chuck, we actually recorded it when we did our record. And we use that as kind of our intro and outro pieces of it for the podcast. But we're like, you know what? We got to drop this thing. We just signed to Chuck. We got to get this thing out here. So we're aiming to get it out wherever you listen to music. The Tennessee Warblers is the band. we're gonna have our version of Eyes of the Ranger up on Spotify. So we gotta do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to do it, man. But you got to put that video up there with it.
Oh yeah, and
I don't know. We need to research it. Has anybody else ever sang the Chuck Norris like that?
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have sung to Chuck, but but for me, I was just like, I can't believe that just happened, man.
I can just see him hugging you now. That was so cool, man.
was walking. I'm still walking on clouds.
Yeah, because I think he told you, and I know it's on the film, but I think he told you, man, that you guys were really good.
Oh yeah, thank you. Sent us a HD video. Who would have known we'd have a guy with an HD camera and a shotgun mic behind us capturing this stuff? What? You guys are awesome.
You got lucky to be right in front of the spa guy and globetrotting with Trey. Let me tell you.
I think so. Yeah, and I learned about Elvis.
Yeah, you're right. We're two guys that don't go anywhere. We film everything, right, spa guy?
That's right. We literally film everything.
Wait, is this being filmed?
Yeah, it absolutely is.
This is being filmed, man. Heck yeah. But man, yeah, I'm glad I met you because when I saw your shirt, I was like, oh man, yeah, I've listened to y'all before, and I have. I think I listened to the podcast with the girl you just mentioned.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully we're better podcasts. I don't know if we're good, but we've got a podcast about the about Nashville Comic-Con that we kind of recorded a few weeks ago before our buddy had an issue, and we definitely give you guys a shout out in that podcast when it drops.
Very cool.
It's already done, and we've got another one in the can that we're going to get out down the line, but we're probably going to be on a little bit of hiatus for a little bit while we all heal up here, and we just again send our thoughts out to our buddy Bob, who's awesome. Without Bob, we got nothing. Roundhouse Roulette is nothing without Bob.
Well, Bob, man, Bob's go spinning heel roundhouse kick it. How about that?
That's it.
Yeah, he's gonna roundhouse kick it back.
That's
it.
Right.
That's right. Yes, sir.
So, friends, make sure you look for Roundhouse Roulette on all the podcast platforms. You look for the Tennessee Warblers on Spotify and all of those things. And go to their website. Y'all have a website, roundhouseroulette.com.
Right.
A lot of the information is there. All of the information about the episodes that you've done with all the scoring and all that, that's all there. You also have merch there.
We do. We got the patented Roundhouse Roulette t-shirt. And then we also kind of, one of my things is we get the vintage Chuck Norris figures, and I clean them by hand, each one, and let's see here.
Yeah, do you have one? Let's check that out.
I got a bunch of rejects because I don't want to. If they can't do that, if they aren't up to my standards, I'm not going to sell these. But you got,
yeah.
Oh, see, he's not doing his. See this. Oh, he can't stand up. So that's why I would never sell this. Don't. And I've been done wrong. So that's why you get your action figures through Roundhouse Roulette. You don't go to eBay, and then you can't have Chuck Norris that can't stand up. I'm stuck with him. This one, oh yeah, he's up. He's okay. Yeah, this one he does like a back kick. Oh, but his doesn't work. See, these are all the defunct ones I'm keeping. But we got these, and they actually work.
Oh, back in the '80s, it had a cartoon, Karate Commandos, right? Is that
exactly. Yeah.
Chuck had a cartoon, Billy. It was before
that's
me.
Funny.
But that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I need to give me one of those. I don't have a figurine.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll be in touch. Okay.
There you go.
We are actually Mignon Monroe. Her husband is a director, and he sent us this. It's a rock he made into the Karate Commando.
Oh wow!
Oh, I love it.
So it's on my desk. Chuck Norris is always looking at me. And Kevin, thank you so much for this. This is ridiculous. And but yeah,
amazing.
Hey Adam, have you ever watched Breaker?
No, but I want to. Yeah.
You got to go watch Breaker. It's Chuck before a beard. His hair is blonde, and he whoops the entire town. That downtown. That's just a bunch of terrible people living there. Chuck Norris comes in the town. They treat him bad, and Chuck, as Elvis would say, TCB's this town. I love it, man. I want to talk about that with him so badly. I just never have really had the opportunity.
All right. Well, man, if we ever do a mini-sode on that, we'll have to have you on, Trey, to talk about
it, man. I love that. And actually, you'll like this. Billy and I found where they filmed, where the town was.
Yeah, Paramount Farm, Paramount Ranch.
Ranch. It burned down 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The whole ranch burned down, but man, I was able to line up where the pitchfork scene happened. And you don't know what that is, so you got to go watch it. But yeah,
that sounds foreboding.
He comes out of the bush on Chuck with a pitchfork and said that he was going to stick him. You can only imagine what happens after this Moreland comes out on Chuck Norris. Like
probably
that scene was filmed, and I'm going to do an episode on it in the future.
Oh, man, dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Cool stuff. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you guys so much.
Right now, go to roundhouseroulette.com. Don't hesitate. Do it now.
Hey, and guys.